Good afternoon, traders and investors. Welcome to this November 28th, Tuesday, November 28th edition of the closing print. Joel Elconin joining you here, Christian Fromhertz, founder and CEO of Tribeca Trade Group, will be joining us momentarily to see what's on his radar. Let's take a look at some of the commodities and futures issues of your choice and some movers we have in today's session. So far, it's been a two-way street here in the S&P 500 index futures. Bears in control for a majority of the pre-market session, pressed for a pre-market low, but couldn't get there. 49 and a quarter was the low. Started to rally around 10 o'clock with some consumer confidence was okay. Then the Fed's Waller kind of made some comments that inflation was coming under control. That ignited a very nice rally. However, that came up just under three handles away from the high of the move at 45.80.50, and then just tapered off again. The Bears got back into the act and took us back here to where we currently are. That's down three handles at 38.58. Boom, boom. So let's move on here. The dollar's weak. That's helping things here. It's down 43 cents at 102.67. Just a kind of steady downtrend here in the month of November, helping out the stock market. No real clear support in the monthlies until you get to that low from August at 101. Let's call it 101.20. Crude having a good day here, up a buck 51, 76.37, matching that high from Friday and having a good day, helping out some of the oil stocks. Gold, do we have a breakout here in the gold market? Did get that bid over 2,000 here, took out the recent high of the move early in the session and now up $28.90. Up nearly the same thing on a percentage basis is the silver market. That's up 36 cents at 25.39. Bitcoin, that's having a good day too, helping some of the Bitcoin stocks up. That's out. That's up $1,565 to 38,775. Eldon Rudy, good afternoon. Get Walmart. I haven't taken a look at Walmart. I know a couple of you were trying to just catch the bottom in that thing, and it took a few days, but did put a couple lows in at the same area. Eldon Rudy here, thought on Walmart. 154. He's leaning on that low of the move. He waited. He waited for it to make the multiple lows at 154.13. Coming up to an interesting area here. This is what you got to do for Walmart. You got to get back into that gap. The high on the earnings day, it was 159.45. You haven't reached that yet today, getting to 158.92. Maybe get a couple days of consolidation is what you want to see in this after the big move today, up a buck 64. But really, what you need is to get into this gap area. That's a big old gap in Walmart, 159.45. Two, boom, up to 167.51. So nice move here in Walmart. It is a 3-day winning streak, so maybe you get a little check back over the next two sessions. Let's see if we saw any sales Black Friday or Cyber Monday sales for that, but we'll see. We'll be getting that soon. But nice entry on that. Let me see what else we have. We'll bring in Christian Fromhertz here just momentarily, and Easy Mike. He got in the down and dirty and some of the meme stocks here. Haven't looked at Peloton, nor do I want to look at Peloton. Not much here to look at. Good day. What you need to get this rally in gear here for Peloton. Get above 574. It got to 556 today. Things seem to open up on the upside there. GME having a good day, up a buck 30, matches the low of the move, or with a double bottom, actually a triple bottom, matched yesterday's low at 11.89, and the apes got into the hacked here. Not much here. You have some highs at 13.50. Actually, that's matching the high from November 15th, and you and you backed off. So if you're using your daily high there at 13.50, you probably got a good sell off. But backing off 30 cents from that, going to need some momentum to get it back to the $14 level. And let's what else here? Oh, just do two stocks real quick here, then we'll bring in Christian. Roku, I believe they got an upgrade yesterday, and it continues to have a run, adding to yesterday's gains. Two nice days there for Roku. It looks overdone on the daily, but on the monthly, this has a feels like it has a way to go. We'll see if it pauses at that high. Next target on the upside is 110.56. That was your May of 2022 high. So wow, $70 to 106 here with not really any checkbacks here for Roku. All right. Going to see if Mr. Fromhertz has joined us here momentarily. He'll be coming in to give his insights in the markets. I guess we got a few more minutes before we. Oh no, he is connecting, and there he is, Christian Fromhertz, founder and CEO of Tribeca Trade Group. I'm sure you were thinking about me on Saturday.
Congratulations. Very nice. Very well played. It got a little bit dicey there at the end,
I
but
know.
all in all, victorious and congratulations. Very
Thank you. Yeah,
nice.
yeah. A lot of that action in the game. A couple of the touchdowns and an interception was right in front of us. So always fun. I think I'm still caught a little cold at the game, but here it's still covering the markets for you.
So wait,
Uh,
so that's how many in a row? Did you go every year?
Three in a row. I've been to 27 Michigan Ohio State games. 26 of them have been in Ann Arbor.
Okay.
The one in Columbus is a good story, but I don't know
O-
if the statute of limitations is run out, so I can't put that out.
Only one in at the
Yeah,
away. Yeah.
yeah,
Wow. Okay.
yeah.
Well, at least you tried it once. Something must have happened. I'll get that story from you at another time.
Off the air, yeah. But with the ups and downs, I am now 13, 13, and 1. The one tie, believe it
Wow.
or not, was the 10-10 tie in 1973. So going back, dating myself a little bit here.
No, that's
Uh,
good. History's good.
Well, let's talk
Yep.
overall market here. The Bears in control during the pre-market session. Bulls fought back of I mean, I guess it was Feds Waller saying, "Hey, we're doing better with inflation or
Yeah.
whatnot," and then it seems like the auction again kind of caught us. Tell us what you're seeing out there from your vantage point.
Yeah, I mean the Fed talk, I get it. People seem to be hanging on the words and trying to get clues off of that. I really am not a big fan of, I think there's seven this week or something like that. And Powell gives his fireside chat at the end of the week, but I don't really think you're getting any new. I'm quoting somebody from Bloomberg this morning, and or if it wasn't this morning, it was yesterday. Just saying, seven Fed speakers to talk about nothing. They're really not talking. There's, the one and I don't know which one it was, but they said, yeah, if inflation's really starts to head down, maybe we can cut interest rates. Well, duh. I mean, that come on, like this is common sense. They're just saying the same things over. And then the other one comes on and says, if inflation keeps going up, then we may have to raise interest rates again. Well, of course. I mean, these are obvious statements, and I don't know if the market's really jumping on it or if the market is just kind of right now just neutral this week, as we really haven't gone it. If you look at the last 2 weeks for the indices, I know it's not the case in single stocks because there's a lot of moving around, but if you look at the last 2 weeks, starting, I guess, from where we made the move last Monday, we really haven't gone anywhere. The S&P is kind of flat for the week, and it's flat for most of the holiday shortened week too. The Qs, and can I bring up my
Yeah,
chart
sure. Go ahead.
just
Yep,
for a
yep.
second?
I was
Yeah.
just going to ask you to do that.
Sorry, you asked me a simple question and I give you a complicated
Hey,
answer, but
that's why we pay you the big money.
here is where we are. Here's the Qs. They're just kind of going back and forth here. So so there's some edges that you could trade, but this is a 1 hour chart, and it's just basically like just telling us right now we tested the high, which is the top of value for the week. I'm watching 391.20. And then to the downside, we're just bouncing around right now. So we do have a lot of, I think, even though they're kind of, they're not the top names that are reporting earnings, but they are interesting names that are reporting earnings. You have CrowdStrike after the close, which, has been on one hell of a rally. Zscaler, um, a good sense. And I know that you guys talk about this in your pre-market about, like if there's a low bar or high bar, look at Zscaler come all the way back, and there wasn't really much negative. Whenever a stock moves up or down, like the media automatically looks for the reason, because they don't like the simple answer that, perhaps that, hey, the stock just really ran into the report over the last couple weeks. So they rather come up with something. And yeah, I mean, they didn't provide full transparency, I guess, on their billings, which the market didn't like, but they had a really good quarter, and the dip was bought. So it'll be interesting what CrowdStrike does after the close. Very similar earnings history. Both CrowdStrike and Zscaler, they've only gone up 4 out of the last 10 earnings cycles. That's the wrong screen. Sorry. That's still the wrong screen. But yeah, you could kind of see from this history, which I think is valuable to know, that you go back 10 quarters and there's only one, two, three, four positive. So I think that kind of gives you a little bit of a clue about what they normally do on earnings. Obviously, there's a little bit of everything in between there, but I think it'll be an interesting to watch for software.
Okay, yeah, that Zscaler move, excuse me,
Yeah,
it
sure.
it didn't go anywhere near that pre-market low, and we had looked at some short-term resistance in the morning at 183 and change, and it blew through that. And having a good day, it actually got green on the session. I mean, it was actually pretty good report.
Hmm.
So we got. What about the payment stocks?
Yeah, so the payment stocks, I mean, I think this kind of started off with what we're seeing with this Affirm, which is, I mean, look at this thing is still going here. It's up another 12% today. So some of these, I think that this is really kind of kicking off a little bit of some catch-up trades going on, and maybe a little bit of rotation. The big names, I think they're all in kind of a little bit of digestion zone at this point. They've made such big runs. Microsoft, it could continue to grind higher, but you might see some rotation out of these bigger cap names and into some things like, uh, like an Affirm, and, even like PayPal, which I don't love. I'm actually in a little bit of PayPal, even though I'm a trend trader, so this is a counter trend trade for me. But if these names are going to see a little bit of a catch up, then I'm going to participate a little bit, right? And that's the same thing with Square as well too. Square's up, 5% on the day. So while the bigger names aren't doing much, and again, you have to realize again the market mechanics behind here, because if the bigger names aren't doing much, right, then the indices aren't going to do much. Um, and some of the smaller names are making bigger moves. Like Square is just not a big weight in any index that I'm aware of. You
Wow,
know,
nice move there in Square.
yeah, yeah. So I think like these things, they fly under the radar because they're just not big weights anymore. And I think the whole payment space, I think, is just getting a lift on, a little bit of
Holiday.
momentum being generated in a group that's been kind of, was left for dead. And there is an ETF in this space, which is called iPay, which, if you look at the weekly chart, maybe this thing finally bottomed here and had a false break, had a false break move down, right? And is now,
iPad.
trying to basically gain some traction here after, a hell of a move from the lows, right? And maybe this starts a recovery in this group, which I think we're seeing in some of the individual names.
Let me ask you about the PayPal, because I know that you don't like to enter stocks unless they're at the above their
Yeah,
200-day moving average. You're
right.
testing it. What is the 200-day moving average in PayPal, and what made you take a flyer on it?
Just the momentum. We've been seeing, so the 200-day moving average is all the way at 65, and that's still a decent move. Like even a move up to $63, which that's around a 10% move. So that's kind of what I'm looking for when I enter into a counter trend trade. I don't know if it will go all the way up to the 200-day moving average. So I'm just in this for like a short term trade. But yeah, there's been a lot of speculative option positioning. Sometimes those guys can kind of what I've noticed with the following call activity is a lot of times people take a shot at something that's really beaten up. And then if there's any good news in a name, whether somebody's kind of sniffing around like an activist or something like that, it's got a chance at working. And why some of these folks use options rather than stock is because you can, in something that's in a downtrend, you can only lose the premium. So if it continues to kind of go down as it's been going in its downtrend, right? The most you're going to lose is the premium, and I think that's why we see so many times we see option activity and kind of beaten up names. It could be that someone's just looking for a little bit of a turnaround story.
What about the move in gold, silver, and Bitcoin and some of the other commodities here? Is that just a little relief that maybe we're not going into a recession? You're going to need those commodities, and if the economy is doing well, give us your take on the metals and another good day for Bitcoin, up nearly 5%.
Yeah, I don't have a great fundamental reason for this, and I'm not in gold because every time I seem to enter gold, the momentum stops in it. It just really, like, if you look at this weekly chart in gold, right? And I guess some people are doing this, which this is really long, zooming out and saying, okay, maybe it's just been going sideways for a number of years. It's possible, but I don't know. I mean, I would be kind of waiting for some confirmation that it's really going to start another leg higher, because every time it seems to get to this
Yeah.
area, it stalls. We haven't seen that yet. So it's something that I'm just kind of watching for.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, I don't have a reason other than, we know that the dollar has been weak. The dollar has really moved down in November. So that helps the precious metals, right? Here's where we are. We topped out right at the top of value in the dollar. So that has something to do with it. And then Bitcoin, I've got levels to watch there. We managed to kind of, after a little bit of consolidation, it's been some back and forth, a little bit easier when you look at the weekly chart, because you look at the daily chart and it's kind of just all over the place. Instead of like tight consolidation, it is consolidating, but it's really kind of whippy back and forth. I think if you buy the green on any of these days, you get fooled almost the very next day because it's down. So it's been better to kind of buy down days. But yeah, I mean, this has got some momentum to it. And sometimes if you don't have the reason for it, it's okay. And there's a blockchain ETF that I think looks pretty attractive here, right? And
Which one's that?
this is BLOK.
Oh, that's right. You mentioned that. What do you think about the VIX? I mean, lower than pre-pandemic level. That bodes well for the market.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we've gone down from 21 to 12. So, I think ultimately, like, I don't really chart the VIX. I know some people like to do that and say, oh, whether we've had a lower high or whatever, chart or some type of a pattern. I just basically say that, hey, the market's really not, it's kind of settling in and not really pricing a little bit of, not really pricing too much volatility. Do I think that we could have, we're due for some snapback volatility? Sure, I think a little bit. But yeah, I mean, we're kind of back where there's some complacency right now in the market.
Got to ask you about Nvidia here.
Yeah,
Been
that's a
down 3 out of 4 days since that blockbuster report and good guidance here. I was looking at this. That there was three lows at the 476.5, 477 area. You breached that going to 74.73. I mean, it is Nvidia, and it just always comes roaring back here. But it just seems like they not really being rewarded for its Q3 report. Give us your technical take on Nvidia.
Yeah, I think this consolidation since earnings or kind of moved down a little bit like this, where it's just taken a breather, I think that this is really healthy. And I think if you've been looking for a spot to get involved, you could begin to kind of, I don't want to say like aggressively leg in here, but you got a nice test down to the 20-day moving average. So,
Wow.
I think the more that people kind of forget about Nvidia for like a couple days, if it acts really like if it puts people to sleep for a little bit, I think that's really good, because and even like the strong earnings report. Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot to dislike here. I'm waiting again. I always wait for a little bit of confirmation. I have an alert set at right around 485. I was looking at this yesterday for kind of a break into the value area, but because again, I use signals in what I do, but I'll continue to wait, and I think it's great. Let some other areas of the market participate, and there's nothing wrong with healthy rotation after some big moves, and that's great. Like I hate to talk bull market, bear market stuff, but for one group to kind of go out to new highs, see some profit taking, then another group start to pick up a little bit, right? That's usually a pretty good sign for a market. So I'm watching this one intently closely. I have a small position in my long-term account, but I'm looking to get back in my trading account, but I'm not in a rush.
What about tax loss selling? Do you look at that at all? I mean, some people say, "Oh, I do mine in October." Some people wait until the last day of the year. You got a
Yeah.
lot of stocks like these solar stocks absolutely pounded here. ENPH, SEDG. Do you look for, maybe some year-end tax selling in these and then perhaps buy the dip opportunity, or is that just not really a strategy you employ?
I mean, I think that there's something to that. There's also that seasonal trade that I forget what the name of it is, but the names that make a 52-week low, like in the last week of the year, you've got that like January effect trade, and those names could really outperform. And yeah, I believe into some extent something like that goes on where people are selling those names that are really beaten up. But I don't know when, I'm kind of watching some of these names because I just feel like everything right now in the market is a bit faster. Um, like we're seeing, like I saw some calls today in Sunrun, which is another one of these beaten up names. So, again, these trades are harder for me because I don't like to go after names and down. I'm very much a relative strength type of person, right? I stick to that, but I've tried to become more aware of these trade mechanics and say, hey, as long as I could go long, just like PayPal is a dumpster dive type trade.
Yep.
Uh, as long as you have a level to go long against where you know where to get out if it starts to revert back to its downtrend. And also you're defining your exit point. Like, so for me, in something like Sunrun, which again, have seen calls in this one the last couple days, like I would maybe set your stop to like, right around here, like $11, and maybe it could go up to 14, right? That's
Wow.
another thing too, is
Ooh.
sometimes when people get into some of these names that are in downtrends, they're not planning out the trade at all. Like they have no idea where to get out of the trade, right? They're just thinking it's a good buy because it's down. So I think it's better, like it's really good to plan out your trade before you get involved and say, okay, if I'm playing this for a momentum move to the upside because of some type of tax loss selling or January effect that could happen, think about where your exit points are going to be both on the stop and taking targets.
All right, one last question for you. What is going to bust us out of the top of this trading range?
I don't know. Maybe it has something to do with earnings this week. We also have on Friday the PD or Thursday.
PCE.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Thursday is the PCE deflator, which could be again, considering how locked we are in this range over the last 2 weeks, that could be the information that maybe gets us out of this range to say, hey, this is another data point that's confirming that inflation is coming down, or not so much. And if it's not so much, then probably that this value area gets broken to the downside.
Okay. All right. Christian Fromhertz. He's the founder and CEO of Tribeca Trade Group. Joins us every Tuesday. Give his fundamental and technical
Oh,
perspectives
sorry.
on the markets. Always appreciated, Christian. We'll dial you up again next week.
Sounds great. Thanks.
Okay. All right. Did see a few more stocks here. We did get a big buy imbalance here, 3.4 billion to the upside here. A little surprised to see that here, but someone's throwing in the towel trying to buy the dip. They're going all in on the close here with that big buy imbalance. Did get the pop up into the mid 45.60 handle. Now it's a battle to be staying green on the session. Did see some stocks up here. Let me reshare my screen and my charts and see if we could get some technical levels here for stocks of your choice. All right. The first one I saw here was boom, boom, boom. Lyft just did something, says Marty Wood. Oh, it did do something. Holy mackerel, what a move for Lyft here. Finally getting a lift. Let's see. Maybe if this was maybe did you get a midday upgrade or downgrade or something? Boom, boom, boom. Reinforces rating. Analyst Piper Sandler. It's good old the old Alexander Potter coming out. Hits the tape here this afternoon. He's turning bullish here, looking for the catch-up trade. Boy, I don't know. Weeklies, it doesn't look like much here. But this is the first big update that you've had here since early in November. And that update was followed by another update. Really, no two highs in the same area. You got a soft target at 11.37. Haven't quite hit that yet today. And then really nothing. I see one time it bolted over 11.50 to 11.68. Another pair of highs, 11.50 area, but you do got some momentum coming in here, and it looks like it's going to be a good volume day, confirming to the move to the upside here. I did. Let's just take a look at Uber here. Uber up, just a steady climb up since its earnings report. Wow, where is? Let's go to the monthlies here. I don't even know what the all-time high is here. Oh, we got a little overdone in 21, early 21 here. But one of the biggest green monthly candles you have had in this stock since during the pandemic. What do you know? It was November of 2022, or excuse me, November 2020 when you had the big move. Not seeing anything on the monthlies up here until the $60 area. You had a pair of monthly highs in early 2021. Let's see what else we have from the chat here as we round the final turn here, heading into that closing bell. Looks like we're going to get in the green here, trading in the green by just a couple handles. Someone mentioned ALB and ALB. Well, let's see here. ALB up 328. Good support forming at 120 here. I wouldn't wait for the low of the move, but if you want to take a stab here at the 124 area, looks like there's good support under 120. You did bolt over 130 a couple times in this month, but 3 of the last 7 highs have been right around 130. So want another leg higher here, then you got to just get you got to clear that 130 hurdle. That is for ALB. Of course, the Bitcoin stocks are moving off the move in Bitcoin. Mara up 1237. No clear resistance in sight here for Mara. Riot is participating as well, up a buck, aided by the move in Bitcoin. Well, there you have it, folks. It looks like we're going to get about a 62.5 print here at the closing bell. That's up just fractionally on the session. Uh, two-way day. We were down in the morning, up in the afternoon, but consolidation station still here in the S&P 500 index futures, folks. So hope everyone enjoyed the show today. Comments from Christian, and everyone have a great evening.